Riot at the Florida Horse Park, and we are competing in the intermediate prelim, which means I do an intermediate dressage test and show jump and prelim cross country. Oops, so you could see he came in, he stumbled there into the halt. Bless him, he still managed to do a square halt. So unfortunately I got a 6 for that, which normally we get 8s. So now we come in, do the corner, come out of it, do a shoulder end. His shoulder ends have really started to improve. And then I straighten up and do a 10-meter circle. And then out of the 10-meter circle, I do travers or haunches in. And he, again, is getting a lot stronger. I kind of let him wiggle off the track a smidge right there. Had to put him back on. And now making sure I go into the corners, half halting, I have a medium trot across the diagonal. These are pretty much his bread and butter. Actually scored a 10 on this movement. So it's always fun when I can score 10s. And we've been scoring 10s throughout the season on different movements. So that's been kind of fun. Now I just kind of put it all together. So now again, shoulder in this way. He got a little bit stuck through the ribs, I think, this way. And I needed to have him a little bit more through over the back. And then into the 10-meter circle. And then preparing for the travers or the haunches in. And for him, I really have to think of keeping him going forward. Sometimes he likes to suck back into the lateral work because that is hard for him. But again, he's gotten a lot stronger this season. Preparing for another medium across the diagonal. This, I believe, scored an 8. Might have been a 9, I can't remember. We did score 5 9s throughout the test, but then I had several 6.5. So I had some room to really get in the teens with this test. Made a nice square halt. I took a deep breath. It was a little bit more humid, so I was breathing a little heavy for this test. Now that backup was 4 to 5 steps, and for Riot, I was actually really pleased with that backup. That is, again, probably one of his weakest movements, and that has really been improving. Now across the diagonal for our extended walk. Again, he's really relaxed. Very nice and rideable in the dressage ring, which is nice. And I always think it's good if you have a chance to make sure you take a deep breath, helps relax, recharge everything, and kind of refocus. So now I'm preparing for the canter at F. Might have come up a smidge there, but we now do a serpentine with a simple change of lead. So I'm going to do canter walk over the center line and then canter right away. It's funny because these didn't feel as good as they normally do, but on video they looked a lot better than they felt. And I got pretty decent scores. I think I got 8s for those. And now preparing, making sure I go into the corner for my medium canter, M to P, and then showing the change and coming back. He was actually very nice and rideable there. Sometimes he can get a little grabby and bracy against the bit. But again, he's gotten a lot stronger through this season. And so crossing the diagonal. And I keep the counter canter, and then I do another simple change at M. And I'm trying to be pretty spot on as I can be. And then we do another medium, again making sure I get into that corner, H to V. And he does that really nice and well. And then preparing for, nearing the end of the test, another cross the diagonal. Making sure he knows that I'm asking for counter canter and not a flying change, which he didn't anticipate anything, so that was good. And then our canter walk. And now I know coming near the end, because we've done so many canter walks, I do have to do a down transition to trot. So you do a half 10-meter circle and then a trot transition at I, but I know that I have to ask for that trot transition a little early because he's going to think that I mean walk, and I want to make sure I'm not late. So even if I was a little early, that's okay. And then coming into a halt, very good boy, laid down a really nice test, scoring a 22.6, which put us in the lead.
Good job, Raja. Thank you. He's a great horse to ride.
Now in for our show jump, and just working on with Riot, making sure I can stay nice and quick around the course without losing his rideability. He can be a little tricky because he is a big, strong dude, and he can be very powerful, so sometimes we loft in the air and I lose some time there. So he wants to jump things clean, but sometimes we have some conversations. But the first jump felt pretty good, coming to this inside line, which is a 6. And I know sometimes I have to move on down the line because, again, he can jump high and steep on me. But I'm trying to stay nice and tidy in my turns, not hanging out. And this is a double. Jumps out really good. And then to a bending 7. And then again, I wanted to land and make him think we were turning and stay really nice and snug because sometimes the time can get away from you in these big arenas. And now coming to this next vertical, I'm half halting and he's kind of blowing me off a little bit, and I ended up getting a little handsy, which I don't like. So I need to work a little bit more of trying to do a better use of my seat and leg instead of panicking a little bit and going to my hand there. Saw a little bit of the gap. And then here he responded really nicely to my half halt. And then I could soften, and he jumped the last 2 clean. So overall, super pleased with him. He did really good. A couple of things for me to tweak here and there, but really pleased with him.
Total of 76 seconds and nothing to add for Riot here.
And on to cross country, and you'll see we're jumping the green letters. So again, that was in the intermediate prelim division. So intermediate dressage and show jump and prelim cross country. So oddly enough, because this is prelim and these are a little small, I'm always a little concerned with Riot because he can sometimes lose his focus. And you can see there's a fair amount of people out walking their course because this was a one day. So, but he's feeling pretty focused. And my goal with this round was to practice on working on our galloping distances and me not like over controlling him so much. So I'm kind of working through that a little bit, but we're coming to just a mound question here. That was really good. So I'm feeling like I have nice control. The thing when I ride my horses cross country is I really don't want to mess with them very much. I want to just kind of stay out of their way, keep their proper balance, and make sure we're in a nice, proper speed for the questions that are asked. So coming to a skinny chevron right here. He's a fairly experienced horse, so I can take a pretty nice tight line to that. And then heading to our next table. And I make a pretty big mistake coming to this table. I saw kind of the big distance in the ad, and I kind of changed my mind last minute. And it was one too many. And so he got in a little close. He was a good boy to kind of get himself out of the way for that. But again, it was just a little bit of miscommunication between us, and we're still sorting things out on cross country. He's a little bit of a different ride from the thoroughbreds because he's a big, powerful horse, and he's a lot slower in some ways and then a lot stronger in other ways compared to my other cross country horses. So, you know, this is a really good course to kind of get out here and sort things out because they're, you know, not on the big side, but we can do some good training out here. So I have a nice gallop coming to fence 11, which is just another table. He was really good at the double corners that you weren't able to see on this video. You'll be able to see in my helmet cam, but there was an inside line and he just read my thoughts and kind of was able to ride that line. So now going into that backfield, we have a half coffin in the back, which was pretty easy. And again, I wanted to make sure I was close to the time, but not by necessarily going fast. I wanted to be efficient and tight with my lines and try to make the least amount of adjustments as possible, which again, a work in progress. So now coming up to the water complex, we have a couple of jumps here. I want to make sure we're in the right balance. You can see I'm riding him in a double bridle. He seems to really like this because I can ride off of the snaffle bit. And then if he gets a little strong, I've got the curb rein if I need it, but I try not to use it. Coming to the water. Pretty simple here. Nice and confident jump. And we can land and keep going. So some of the things just practicing on again is being efficient before and after the jump. I'm coming to another table here. Now I always like to sit first with my body and go to my hand last. Now coming to these next couple of jumps here. Again, this horse has a ton of power, a ton of scope, so he makes these seem like a little novice course. And then this final little ramp over there, I finally felt like I could get one out of the gallop step there where I didn't have to muddle with them too much, which was nice. Now heading to our second water complex, which is kind of like a half keyhole in the water, making sure we're balanced. Gave him a little tap on the shoulder because there's a little gap there to say, hey, come on, stay with me. Now we're near the end of our course. And again, I didn't wear a watch. I was just going based off of feel and kind of where I wanted him to go type of thing, because it was more about the training for him this weekend. And we're coming to the last combination here. Want to make sure he's nice and balanced. He eats up that 2-stride. And then I let him gallop on a little bit to the last couple of fences. And I want to make sure that I find some good distances there, nothing too long. Never want to take the super long flyer at the end of the cross country. So I see a kind of a deep one there. Get in nice and tight. Finishes up really well. So it's a really good educational training round for him. I thought he was really nice and focused because there was a lot of people out there on course, and sometimes that can distract him. But it was a bonus. We ended up winning the class and had a really great day of competition. I was really proud of Riot.